$1,000,000 for the city's goddamn light. At least they could... Ah, damn it. Where'd it go?
Looking for this?
2 years after the release of Children of the Corn Part 2, Miramax Dimension was back with the third theatrical release, which was also the final theatrical release in this franchise. Joshua and his adopted brother Eli escape from their abusive father in Gatlin and are brought to Chicago where they're taken in by the Porters. The story is anchored on their bond as brothers as the two start drifting in different directions. Joshua starts adjusting to life in the city, making friends, playing basketball, and falling in love. Eli responds to what he sees as rejection by clinging to his faith in He Who Walks Behind the Rose, and it's revealed he's a seemingly immortal child tied to slaughters that go decades beyond the first two movies, and he starts playing the same song again as he plants a crop of corn, challenges adult authority, and starts gathering a new flock of followers. The first hour of this film is fantastic, with intelligent atmospheric direction and a well-written script. Alongside the strong story of dissolving brotherhood, you have the Porters, who are divided between a fear of Eli and greed over the potential of his amazing corn, the neighbor siblings whose family is destroyed by Eli just because they became close to Joshua, and the principal/priest who finds his faith increasingly profaned by the young preacher. And when the story starts revealing the history of Eli, it elevates him to more of an Antichrist level than the last two preachers, as we see his seed spread to a level of more worldwide ambitions. Also, I'm a longtime fan of the makeup effects of Screaming Mad George and Kevin Yeager, and while this isn't among their best work, a lot of it is pretty solid as people die in horrible ways or become fertilizer for the corn to grow from. The film is not without its problems, and most of those lie in the third act. The first hour of the film is a magnificent build in tension, but once we get to where the story is actually taking us, there's a lot of standing around and shouting. And then this happens. And then this.
Give it to me, brother! Give me the book! Now!
And then the hand puppet shows up. Yes, we finally get to see He Who Walks Behind the Rose in all his glory, and he's just this lumped-together thing from another world of a hand puppet, complete with lousy chroma key and obvious action figures in peril, as it goes on a Carrie-style rampage against the new flock of kids, who are entirely innocent as their potential rampage had been completely felled by this point. Oh, but check out Charlize Theron's screen debut, where she, Well, we all gotta start somewhere. Other issues are an overbearing score lifted from The Omen.
They shall be consumed.
An overuse of loud booming and growling noises on the soundtrack. And the new flock of kids being won over through magic corn slipped into their soup instead of actually being seduced by Eli's constant sermons. And the kid playing Eli, while he perfectly looks the part, kills it a bit with weak line delivery every time he opens his mouth.
Who was Joseph?
Who in hell cares?
I do. And so should you. Because he was a child, just like us. A child with a great vision of the world. For Joseph loved the land, who provided food for our bellies, timber for our shelters, oceans to play in and air to sustain us.
Eli?
But he foresaw that group would once desecrate our Mother Earth, choke the air with pollution, and cloud our water with sewage.
As I said earlier, this was the last installment of the series released in theaters, and it's easily the best of the three that Angie and I have covered so far. It doesn't require much familiarity with the broader franchise, so even if you didn't like the first two or haven't even seen the first two, I think you should definitely check it out. It's both a strong sequel that escalates the material in a nice new direction, and also a nice slice of 90s horror. It does fall apart a bit in the climax, but the first hour is still so strong, with good characters and magnificent atmosphere, that I think it's still ultimately worth it.
And I saw an angel come down from heaven having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And that concludes my sermon on Revelations.
Does anyone have any questions?